Hello, welcome to another 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Today we're going to be talking about, basically an unplugged vacation, sort of the lessons of kind of what I looked at internally. The reason that I wanted to really kind of take this vacation as an opportunity, or time off, if you will, to unplug is because for the last 6 years running this company, I've been extremely plugged in and available every moment of every day and answering every call every day. And sooner or later, that gets to be quite a bit. So from an entrepreneurial side, I'll tell you that it's interesting. I left my post, if you will, checking daily, for about an hour or so at the end of the day. I mean, let's be realistic. I'm not going to possibly be able to do nothing all day. And at the end of the day, when you're out, hiking and taking in new scenery and looking through life in general and just kind of being away from your phone, you certainly learn a lot about what's around you. And I was able to take in the scenery. There aren't many things in my life that will get me to zone out, like mountains or beautiful scenery, oceans.
No Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, the fact that where we were, as pointed out by my producer and wife, there was just points where even if you wanted to be on your phone, even if you had to be on your phone for, let's just call it safety's sake, because you didn't know where you were, there were points throughout the trip that there was none. And no connectivity, even if you desired it. And that's an interesting feeling, right? Because here you're like, all right, well, at least I have a compass in the car and I give myself an idea of which way I'm headed or need to head. But for me, it was about getting out there and sort of noticing that as the days went on and the work stacked up, and I have a great team around me, so I'm fortunate enough, and that's what I learned too, is the people I surround myself are really good at what they do, and so I don't necessarily have to always be 100% plugged in. And this is not an advocation on my end that I'm going to do this, regularly. I'll tell you what it has taught me, though. It's taught me that I need to be able to unplug throughout the course of days and weeks, as opposed to trying to unplug for a week at a time, if that makes any sense. It's because, again, the number one lesson I learned is the business didn't burn down. 1 week, middle of what is the busiest year we've ever had, and to able to take a week and really separate myself is going to be great for my business moving forward, my relationship. All of those things should be impacted positively by the week that I took, and the fact that you can't do any of this alone. Even in a small boutique company like we have here, you can't do it alone. And if you get any bigger than this, you certainly can't do it alone. And that's something that I think is an entrepreneur lesson I hear and learn a lot about from people. And so I find it to be interesting when people try to go at it alone. And frankly, in my case, I just needed it. I hadn't had it in a long time. I just needed it, and it was awesome to get. So while I was unplugged, while I was on vacation, we were doing some serious hiking up in Northern California in the Redwood Forest outside of Humboldt County. And it was something that I had always wanted to do and never actually seen. And to be live and in front of these just gigantic trees, 3-story high trees, you think to yourself, man, how long has this been here? What is the deal with these trees? So throughout the course of the time, we were out there for a wedding that happened in a redwood grove. So you got your history lesson there on this really cool train ride up for that. And during the train ride, one of the things I heard was the fact that that fire doesn't kill redwoods. Because it's thick exterior and its ability to be flame retardant. Bugs don't like it. Nothing likes being around it. And as weird as this sounds, to compare this back to the car business, I started to get very introspective about these trees because they're ancient, right? You're talking 600, 700, 800 years. Some longer than that. And so as you sit here and you look at this thing and you think to yourself, how can it exist? And now only less than 5% of the actual redwood forest, the original trees, still exist today because of logging and greed and all these terrible things throughout the years. But here's my point. My point is that they still stand. And this tree isn't just a 300 foot item. It is a micro ecosystem for everything around it. From the ecosystem that lives at the very tops of these branches to the ones that live at the bottom. Once the fire happens, what happens is it clears the brush. Exterior of the tree is burned, and if you guys haven't seen it, you can look all over the internet. You'll see these pictures of these huge burned out trees on the exterior, but they still go up into the sky because they're protected. And the car business has been through this recently. We're going on over a decade since the true kind of burned down forestry around us to help us grow up and be better. And we're here to do that. The car business is the same way as the ecosystem. Car business has not only the cars and city that it lives in, but all of its employees, and then from there out, all of its vendors. And yeah, sometimes when fires happen, or compression in our market happens, or downturns occur, yes, it does burn off a little bit of the edges and allows other people to come and grow throughout that growth. So when you guys think about looking at the car business as this idea of it going away, I tell you, look at the redwood forest. And again, I realize only 4% still exists, but these things have been around. They're ancient. And the car business is ancient in its own right, but it's evolving. As these trees have evolved to keep up with all of the changes in their environment, etc., they're like greenhouse crazy nuts, right? These guys love to take all of the emissions in and then just store it up for everybody else. And if you think about that as our industry, that's what we do. We take it all together, we make this gigantic purchase something easier for people. So just don't get lost in the idea that the car business is going anywhere, because similar to these trees that still exist, they're going nowhere. And they've been able to have other little trees come out from beyond the growth, right? So I know it's odd. I know you can tell I've been in vacation mode. So that's what I kind of tie it back to. I had a lot of other thoughts that kind of went in and out throughout the days. But I'll tell you, if you run a company, even if you don't, you're someone who's busy every single day and you're putting your ass out there to really work hard, take time, unplug, you deserve it. All right? Thanks for tuning in. You can always get me 262-278-0157. You can get me Sean. Actually, we're going to change that up for you guys. Having a little trouble with that recently. We were joking about the email. It's carbizdonebetter@gmail.com. Those emails I certainly get. So go ahead and hit us up there. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're everywhere, guys. Thanks a lot. Enjoy your week.